please give a roll call.
President Price,
Present.
Vice President String, Secretary Trujillo, Board Member King, Board Member Conrad.
The next item of the evening is the 2022, unfortunately, you do not have a patent, present or wish to advise because you move to that. I will go ahead and get some presentations. I present
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I look forward to having all of this family. It is critical that every time we meet and create conditions where there exists, we will be capable of investigation carefully. We are all to the ground before Sunday, to the original people, the end of the room, very happy of our president. This acknowledgement provides a reminder of our measures, exactly recognizing poverty, reconcile, and part of the original people whose and one and it from great talents to be. Item 5 was approval of the city agenda. We have one line of the agenda and our recommendation motion to move public comment to follow verification saving kind of one, which is the single without verification. There's a big amount of this space to further people.
Board Member Conrad. Board Member King,
Yes.
Vice President String. Yes. President Price.
Yes. This I will call for one council or one delegation on this group. The board will proceed with verification.
Thank you, President, for the you can see. My name is Nick Steve with all of Finance and Services Municipal Advisory. Tonight I'm going to give a brief update, or presentation I should say on. I think the next Municipal Finance, I have to give a presentation to federal obligation bonds, what the school district bonding capacity is, and kind of a brief outline of how we are doing this evening. This information is things that might have been presented to the world over the past year and a half, so it's not anything. Most of that be the summer for the general audience. May. Go to page 3 of our presentation that we're giving general election school bonds. School bond elections are allowed to be held first Tuesday for the first Monday in November of 5 years for school district in New Mexico. That means 2025 and 2027 are the next opportunities for a regional bond election for a school district. There's always the opportunity to have a special election, one election, one cycle. That is how it's an added cost of the school district. People will have to pay all this. After talking with Superintendent Kate for the past year and a half, going to be this working problems that the district kind of prioritize as well. That is why we're targeting Parliament project election type of next, there's a rule of what we can't say. Once the school board commission falls within an obligation bond election, the district does need to permit we vote and they can go out and encourage people to vote. They can't say which direction to vote. The district has to remain factual on all the projects. And the school board did call for the general election in July of 2025. The last part here just mentions the New Mexico Constitution, section 14, which is the New Mexico anti-delegation clause, and that basically states that no state or county school district or municipality, if that otherwise provided is some make a donation in aid in person, association, or public private corporation That basically goes to say that if the board of municipality, you all cannot deny yourself or other projects that solution. Often, that does include state charters for the district. It also includes facilities that the district does not open, so if you have students who go to the library, you will not allow to do on there. Doesn't all have to be for district owned facilities, or school campuses. There's all those state statutes, Article 1, 22-2. That also clarifies that, but it's good. Okay, and I think that's something again. Page 4 talks about general obligation school law, that's what is regarding that resident of the house to go ahead and buy on in November 2025. In order to issue a school bond, a district project under a set valuation. The set valuation is the total resident non-percent local values in the county. And that makes up what we consider the district bonding capacity. I'll get to the total bonding capacity. They don't want usually, but because of the school bond, property capacity, within all property values, there's a vision that is why we got to have all of this. School bond member people, you guys will just on themselves, and for the bottom part, we approved. Probably the uses that you allowed after the obligation on the ballot, and it did figure out say, one school project does talk about campus improvements renovation. But that way, if the bond is passed, and all the projects that need to be finalized and working. Education technology, those are the next slide. And those are a little bit different than the general obligation bond, those are something that the school board are allowed to go ahead and with an issue and incur that down. Residents. Education technology, those are something that the district has from the issue pretty much every other year for at least the last decade. This year, 2025, has been another year that will wind up being recycled, but applications around the broader elimination has cited to not issue an education technology note in 2025, so we keep up that on capacity for this general obligation. That is all part of our process of getting back to the community and finding the encouragement. Getting the bond does that, we can find the ability to issue an education technology note in time the school board does use. That needs an offload for potential projects and 2026 is really call it. The project list is bond development and be a lot of just needs to be things that benefit the student educational mission. The next part talks about funding Iowa and the election or anything else. The state of New Mexico does have the policy for state fiscal year 2007, which reduces school districts local match. And that will help reduce the financial costs that the district has to pay by a pretty substantial amount. Right now, school district local match is 60% of any project they all working on. After 2027, if the legislation expires, you all will for 94% of costs. That will significantly change the cost structure that we have on the project. And as part of the plan, those will have been a lot of this project right now. It is potentially 60 or 70 project. If you can lower your costs and be at 63% of that. And it will help the community quite substantially the payments of this. On page 7, that talked about some of the measures that have been taken out of the case. Based on the school district size and what to a levy of $10 to qualify for recipient. State, we don't think that's in the best interest because we then have to go ahead and pay a higher fare rating project like in the school in order for it to kick in. You would potentially pay $60–70 million on the middle school project. $40 million. So that is, also how we do that, and in total, up to $7. On page 8, that looks at our historical valuations in the community. That's what is how we're on, I think 6% data that in addition. You all are in one of the wealthier property tax districts here in New Mexico. Between residential and non-residential values, that's a total of about 1.5 billion. And then we're allowed to issue debt that's 6% of that total. So in the right hand corner, you have a total bonding capacity of $90 million. And then you look at the outstanding debt you have, which has issued a couple of general obligation bonds to pass. You have just shy of $12 million outstanding, so it leaves us with a corresponding capacity of $78 million. And then down the bottom, you can see how as you pay off some of that existing debt, your bond capacity will continue to grow over time, allowing you to potentially go back to voters in 2027, 2029 for additional funding with no tax increase because you are paying off debt. You can go ahead and later on, I could tell you do the selection as well. Page 9 looks at the historical tax rates here in the community. Right now, the total residential levy is 5.92. And then if the general obligation bond passes, you estimate the total residential levy would go up to about $7. Page 10 looks at some of the existing general obligation bonds that the district has issued. Going back to 2010, there is still debt outstanding. In New Mexico, you can issue general obligation bonds for managed projects on up to a 20-year life cycle. That is why some of those bonds are still outstanding. They were issued in pretty advantageous rates and make it so you don't want us to really pay out that debt early because it was city projects. Page 11 looks at some of the existing education technology that's at the district has issued. Like I mentioned, you guys historically issued those every other year. Those who follow different statutory requirements where there's a school board meeting all part of the issuing of the education technology notes. But they also have a required share with all the charter schools in the district. I think that's something we're pointing out differently than our obligation bonds. Pays off the student enrollment and size of school district, or school district. You have to share those education technology proceeds with them. So even if you as a school board decide to issue an education technology that's fund a project at high school, all the schools would benefit from that. They have to potentially increase the amount of integrations. They have the money for the high school project and still have the appropriate share of all of the subjects. Page 13 kind of gives a sequence of events of how we've gotten to today. Like I mentioned, our party talking to Dr. Lane with the school board for about a year and a half now about different funding options and these waivers on in place. Trying to think about what projects that the district has. The middle school is ranked about on the state facilities this, and schools within the top 100 are prioritized for extra funding from the state. That ranking has only increased going from 16 or 18 a year and a half ago down to 11, putting it in the top list of schools that are in the and has made it a priority not only for the state but district as well, trying to make sure it's an adequate building for all students. Part of that we have facility master plan district has, that's something in the process of being updated as well. We've been forming bond planning committee and that started in June. Public are invited to sign up. Their voices heard openly to discuss different projects and needs that they have. And then you have the general obligation bond election in November 2025 for all the residents to vote yes and no bond election. If the bond does pass, then we would begin the bond sale, most likely in springtime, February or March, and then you can have access to your money all in the year of June. During that time, that's when you can finalize some specific projects and have different buildings, campuses, and things like that. It would most likely be listed out in what's called your official statement. That's what's given to all the bondholders and out there and be purchasing the bonds. And right now for the elections and to be flying from the small schools That way, if things do change, you're not tied to funding those without the state potentially help support. If the middle school project comes in for an estimate because of our strength and state support, that will then free up additional funds for you all to spend on some of the projects that the committee has brought up and discussed. Page 14, let's say the end of our estimates, and again, based on middle school being a priority project, the ranking, wanted to show what that would potentially cost to renovate it. They also brought up in our recent bond committee is costing $600 square foot for their construction project. That's a very good thing. Also starting to come down. You can see the middle school has a allowable square footage of almost 105 square feet. So that does make it a pretty costly project, no matter what it is per square foot. But using the estimates at $600 a square foot, you end up having total construction costs just shy of $63 million. And then because of that, with due local match in place right now, the district could potentially pay 63% of that instead of 54%. That would bring the district share just under $40 million. And then the remaining funds for the school. The waivers on the state have in place right now based on the making middle school to change and potential for the state funding to increase as well. Give you guys some more money to focus on this. And then I think the core part for residents is maybe how much those involved costs if they were to be approved. And we estimated it would be a 1 mil increase. 1 mil equals $1 for every 1,000 you have in property value. And so we're trying to estimate based on a couple of ratings, 400,000 for the average resident house would be cost $5 million. And that would be for the initial point. If there were no more bonds issued by the district, and actually back side of the loan. The next page on 15 shows I guess as well, I would have to 75 if we were to sell bonds and say there, maybe on all as a big one for the presentation, I'll make sure we find for questions, comments, and does happen.
Thank you for the presentation. Does the board have any question or which or clarifying of the student statement? Yes, we.
Yes, I think we recommended that to the board probably in October last year. Partly because of the project that were brought up to us, but also because of dollar amounts. If we were to talk about education technology, that was some of the data point ahead to do with that. I mean, if we were to issue a general obligation bond, those would be more responsibility to go ahead and start project. But I guess backing up a step further to accomplish a project that costs $60 to $70, you as a school district or any school district in Mexico don't get that funding alone to go ahead and accomplish it. You're a public school district and get SCP, which are the student dollars. That's the same per student dollar across the entire state, and that barely covers your ongoing operations and maintenance. It doesn't even cover your maintenance, to be honest. It barely covers your operations for your school district. That's then where other people like Household Lab and C9 will be participating for and funding operations. Those includes changing light bulbs, fixing locks, some of the things that are needed. This school building safe function for all the students. Having an investment in 11 in place also unlocks and save matching dollars. Auction money go a little bit further. So that really leaves one option to go ahead and fund a project that's $60 million, and that's a general obligation bond. That gives you the flexibility to go ahead and school buildings, all funds, and get to that funding.
Thank you.
Do you remember the board have any additional questions? David, just have a, like, requested to clarify, you did state how and what these bonds could be spent on, and we proposed requirements and the statute here, specifically on 22-1-2, general provisions. And there's some key statute and this is how we keep old buildings. We have open school, we have administration building, and related school structure, all facilities, including teacher housing, that is only required or constructed by the school district as necessary to carry out the function of the school district. Please just kind of verify on that, we go on.
Yes, so like you said, that means, well, as a school district building, either has to be something that the school district owns and it's to a charter school, or it may be a district owned charter school. It cannot be a building that you guys do not own, to renovate for the benefit of it. Cannot be a state owned charter school, you can be a non-charter district, operations. You at all as a school board, able to, or then, I think we for something we're not legally operating. So that is what that is talking about, rolls up into the Mexico Constitution. And that Article 9, Section 14, I had mentioned, which more or less is saying that definition laws that you cannot give public money it calls for do someone with your direct involvement. So it cannot be a private corporation, be a public corporation, wouldn't be the state charter schools. District charter school is a little bit different, and projects forward after the election, starts by project listing. It's within the constitutional amendments from allowed, and some district charter school buildings or projects can fall. They all have a different codes and federal education purpose that's listed on that question. That would apply to district or charter schools and any projects of which you're servicing.
Any additional comments or questions from the board? Already meeting.
So, our meeting friend. We could find any charge that.
That is correct, they're not legally allowed to do that. Okay, that's part of into the education technology, and are different. Those who have a statute to share the proceeds of all this, between district, whether it's a district owned or state charter school or facility as part of these operations. All of those groups would all have education technology, but education technology. School building to be the same distance groups. And that is what the focus is for the district program. You put out a school market.
So how does the charter is telling you if you want to do, let's say that. Education.
There are a couple of different programs through the state right now, as the systems programs. There are also implementing a couple of new capital funding programs, also with some of the projects in based on the corporation, purpose rules, skills, building improvements, sources of its private donors, and the students who live in facilities, grants, so legislation.
Any further comments or questions from the board? Yeah, at this time, we will go in and move to public comment. We did amend the agenda, we will allow public comment to call on item 7.4, and thank you, Nick, for your presentation. We may have to call question 40, but we'll try not to.
requires to give public comments. For this special meeting, this is an opportunity for members of the public to express the Hospital School Board which demanded that they be part of the upcoming school district general obligation bond. However, public comment is not limited to this topic. The board will listen, take notes, and address public comments related to the general obligation bond under the agenda item below. Any interested person may submit data, views, or arguments in writing to the board on any school-related topic by submitting their comments to the executive secretary's Samantha office at Samantha Gonzalez at houseschools.org. An individual or representative wishing to give public comment shall register prior to participating in public comment. Additionally, when registering for public comment, the speaker shall be required to identify the subject matter of those comments when they register. They can also state their name. Speakers are going to be allotted 3 minutes or an amount otherwise designated by the board president at the beginning of the meeting. The board president, in his or her sole discretion, will shorten length of the comment period time to ensure that the meeting is efficient and properly conducted. All speakers are required to abide by all time limitation. All speakers are strongly encouraged to avoid personal attacks, utilize all administrative avenues for complaint resolution before bringing issues to the school board. To avoid identifying students and comments, and to present all comments professionally and respectfully. If you are an individual with a disability who is in need of a reader, amplifier, qualified sign language interpreter, or any other form of auxiliary reader service is needed to attend or participate in the hearing or meeting, please contact the office of the superintendent and these only before the meeting as soon as possible. But at this time, we have 12 speakers, so I will go ahead and allow for the 3 minutes that is stated in the meeting agenda. And our first speaker is going to be Mr. Dan Malone.
Good afternoon, Superintendent, Chair, Vice Chair, School Board. You know, there's a number of issues that are keep coming up. In 2008, I went through this, and there's no decision which guys are making. You know, when I look at it, I have kids both in public and in charter schools. And when this tax or the school one comes, you know, it's going to cost me, and I look at my investment, this is going to be my investment in this community. This is going to cost me about $30,000 a year. And so I look at the investment. Are we just investing in one portion of our kids, or are we going to invest in everything in our community? So I just, right now, more than ever, we need to come together as a community. About 1,000 children attend charter schools. And they're being left out of the bonding process. This is exactly the moment we should be supporting all our families, not providing every child deserves our investment, regardless of which school they attend. I'm calling on the school district to revise this bond to include all students. Let's show what real leadership looks like. Compromise, listening, and working together so every child has an opportunity to thrive. You have one question, Mr. President, for bond council. I noticed you mentioned that that it's every other year that we would be eligible to put this on the election.
Yes, sir.
So not next November, but the following November before we even get this back on. Is that correct?
That is correct, for general election this time.
So again, we need to come together now. Some of these schools, my mother-in-law attended some of these schools. And we need to really come together as a community for our kids in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Michelle,
Good evening, Superintendent Layton, President Flores, members of the Taos Municipal School Board. My name is Michelle Hunt. I speak tonight as a community member, landowner, parent who raised her child in Taos, and an employee and a leader at the Amonte Charter School. I have been part of this community for many years, and I stood shoulder to shoulder with Taos Municipal Schools in the past, working together to pass the last general bond obligation back in the range of 2007 to 2009. The 2018 Education Gross Receipts Tax Improvement Revenue Bond and the EdTech Notes 2019. We have a long history of collaboration when it comes to doing what's right for our students. Back in the 2008-2009 range, there was no law, and there is still no law that requires charter schools to be included in the bond. But the superintendent and the school board at that time chose to do the right thing. They recognized that every school student, no matter what kind of public school they attend, deserves a safe, equitable, and high-quality learning environment. That decision set a powerful precedent. The bond process that year was open and it was inclusive. Everyone had a seat at the table together. The result was a shared victory with new facilities, major renovations, and a community united by the belief that every student, every child matters. That spirit of inclusion is what made Taos strong then, and it's what we risk losing now. Excluding charter schools from this fund is not just a bureaucratic oversight. It is a message to more than 1,000 students, nearly 40% of Taos's children, that their schools and their education matter less. I don't believe that's the message this board or this community wants to send. It's also not fiscally responsible when charter schools have to use their operational dollars, which, as our bonding agent told us tonight, barely lets us make ends meet. To use those funds meant to educate children, to pay for building repairs and maintenance. It weakens the entire education system. Equitable facility funding protects all of the schools and all of the students. So tonight, I urge you that you think of all children, that you think of all of our schools, and that you think of the Taos community as a whole. If we are asking every taxpayer to invest in education through this general obligation bond, then that investment must reflect the needs and work of every school and every student in the Taos community. I respectfully ask you to either revise the current resolution to include charter schools, or to consider postponing the bond to do the work necessary to ensure equity for our community. Let's take the time to do this right for our children, for our community, and for the future of education in Taos. I thank you for your time your service, and your commitment to all of our students. Thank you.
Again, I would just like to urge those speaking to try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you, Ms. Michelle, for your comments. Mr. Jeremy Miller.
President Flores, members of the board, Dr. William, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I also want to thank the members of the House School Committee for their work setting up priorities for the upcoming bond election. For many of us who voted for tonight, this whole process. Thank you. My name is Jeremy Jones. I come to you as a community member, property owner, school leader who was directly involved in the 2009 bond issue with the school I worked at. As a community member, I know that Tosca experience some school funding measures, like the one before us today, because we believe giving our children the best possible living environment. In 2009 and again 2018, the district and the charter schools worked together to establish shared priorities for campus improvement. That collaboration made it possible for the charter school to build a gymnasium using the GO bond fund. And that gym isn't just for one school. It's used by students from across the district for junior basketball, indoor soccer, and community tournament. Many of you here probably attended events there at the Cal Charter School Gym. It's a community resource made possible by community support. Since 2009, school bonds and levies approved by voters have included all school buildings in the Cal area. Excluding 40% of them now will be a significant amount that a departure from that condition. The property owner and proposed to vote yes on school funding measures, knowing that my property has to the work of all students in the house. In closing, and I have one question perhaps. Answer some speaking, what would an HB 33 mill levy, which does divide by funding by membership, then an approach that could have been taken here to include all area students. So at some point to have an answer to that. And then so let's continue our legacy of community and equity in our community to ensure that every Cal student benefits on this one. Thank you.
If you consider this. Would you please, if you've got any,
Thank you. So HB 33 is something that the school district and the residents house could decide to vote and implement. Similar to the SB 9 levy, both of them, that HB 33 can be used for school building improvements on facilities. I do not get paper that there's a root on recommendation of that. Project to money, but you can change the regular levy amount. That will vary from that new district articles. We would end up potentially being on the stage to pass it all. But likely not fund necessarily go ahead. You can project and state has a lot there. I think you use the part of the long-term plan that the district has. That's the way to increase funding access to all the districts. It was brought on the class we got into that house as a whole. Having the books actually to state Mexico. I mean, you all are bonding and supporting the other districts and the science you all. Most other districts have an already and 11 hospitals right now. And you guys have 500%. The difference in that amount, but it's we go on and guidance with all possible avenues. And good increase the all students.
They can get from all of it, so in regards to the 33, how long would that be on hold the information?
It follows the same national rules as a general obligation bond that is for the made or cycle. We also have the ability to implement it through special election. There are some restrictions on what period we do and then elections. You can generally have special elections. With that added cost, you guys typically does have to be to try to save all the schedule. But off the top of my head, like the cost of 20,000 on the investment for these.
We're going to move forward to Mrs. Valerie meetings.
Good evening. My name is Valerie Gibbons, and I'm speaking tonight as a community member, property owner, and the parent of two school age children. I share sentiments and concerns of operational content and join which is back to those economy. The world had to do, but we will try not to do what we share in those statements. However, I want to address a couple of points related to the nomination. The first time is that I forgot the citation that we were given just now about preventing the school district from sharing the proceeds with community charter schools. And the citation we got was 22-1-2. And we looked at that. That's just a list of definitions. So I'm curious as to what the correct citation might be, because this one doesn't fit originally. In addition, in a recent article, the House News quoted Superintendent Whitman as saying, "We did ask for the district charters to be a part of our one community, and also we did provide the space for them to provide input of their need. It's my understanding that the directors of the Mountie Charter and Taft Charter were members of that community, but the needs of those campuses are well known to the district as they are included in the district facilities master plan. Still, the district made no effort to include the schools' needs, but actually assess their needs. Inviting them to be a part of the community and actually considering the needs of those schools is not the same thing. In an effort to stay informed, I attended the following committee meetings last month. While there were plans to tour all district schools to assess the needs of those campuses, there was no plan to tour a single charter school campus. When I asked whether the committee planned to do so to assess the needs of the charter schools, Dr. Layton made clear that while the committee could accommodate my request and schedule a tour of Muncie, and Muncie's pending decision regarding its charter renewal, whether to remain as a district authorized charter or move to become a state authorized charter, within that, whether the committee actually came to a Muncie campus. And Muncie remains a district authorized charter school at this time and will be a district authorized charter school at the time voters decide 30 seconds to approve or reject this bond. And Muncie, as well as every other charter school in Texas, should be included in this foundation. If you decide to stay with us and exclude the charter schools, the still does be 1,000 children in Texas. I think we have an obligation to make this very clear to voters so they can decide what is acceptable. In my opinion, it is misleading to suggest that charter schools chose not to participate. Our district and our charter school should be partners, not competitors, in serving students. Bonds are meant to invest in our community's future, and that future belongs to all Taos children. I urge the board to consider ways to include all the schools in this initiative so that every child benefits from the Taos community's substantial investment. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to the children of Taos.
Thank you very much for that. Kathy? Hi.
actually, cafeteria.
Or hold it, okay. Please speak.
There is cafeteria. Today, I come and address the board as a resident in Fulton. I see lots of amenities this year. I work in the public schools, not as a public school district employee. But I do want to speak on this issue, I think is very important. Lots of folks will be talking about the issue of the quality and this proposed issue and how the school district purposely left out charter schools. But if I talk about that, most likely you're going to tune me out. But I need you and the community to listen and question the capability of the Taos Municipal School District to adequately and ethically use this money. Taos, did you guys forget that the Taos Municipal School is still completing an investigation into fraud allegations that began in 2022? The state police got involved and then the results have still not been made public. This should make anyone hesitant to give millions of dollars to a system that operates in secrecy and fraudulently. Remember, Taos, they're asking for our money without being accountable for what they already have. My next question is also about how funds are being spent. Superintendent Layton ran an ad in the Taos News last week with lots of questionable information. I'm sure the intent was to read some information and advertising happening on Facebook as referenced in his ad. But my question is about who paid for this ad? Did the board approve it? Because it would have been included in your last agenda for your last board meeting on the 24th of September, but it wasn't. Which should make us all wonder, why is the superintendent, why does he get to decide how to use public monies without oversight from the board or without public comments? If we, the taxpayers, allow the superintendent to use a few $100s because he didn't like what was being said in social media, what we do with even more? My last question is about the projects that will be funded by this proposed bond. The last time this district was given $1 million to address learning deficits caused by COVID, the board chose to spend it on upgrading the football field. For Kansas. And now there's a third gym being built in the high school, when according to the Taos News, the roof in the high school always leaks when it rains. Why are some projects being prioritized when there's such a need for adequate upkeep already? Why did you put in a new football field when the roof needed to be replaced? That doesn't make much financial sense. Wouldn't you think more students would benefit from such a large expenditure? These questions seem unrelated to us, but remember, this is the system that is asking for $50 million from us with no clear explanation of how it will improve student outcomes overall. They want this money because of the potential it has to get more money from the state, a match of $29 million if the bond is secured. But what will all that money do for actual academic outcomes? What will a shiny new building give our community's children at graduation time? So now, go ahead, get caught up in the drama if you want about how this bond was proposed and the discourse that is happening between our educational leaders. But that is just a distraction to the school district's dismal record of financial management and academic outcomes. We are already feeling the increased costs that they go to get things fixed for the bills. And there's no way that I'm getting any of my money to a system that doesn't account correctly for how it spends money or how it actually helps the majority of students prepare for life after graduation. Remember, Taos, this is our money. We don't have to give it away to a system that doesn't work.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Very much. Mrs. Angela Romero.
Good evening, President of the board, members of the board, community members. I have a program, I'm in Taos Schools. became my parent in school social, I was supposed to start with the district for charter school, I mean, for Taos Middle School. But I started, working in a charter school in Shawnee. I have two kids. One of them who attends one of the district charters, another one who went to all of Taos School the last 11 years and will be graduating very soon. My only time with the current Mohawk would benefit Taos Middle School, and that's where I'm located at. And I want you guys to hear from the day-to-day of what we're struggling with. I think our maintenance and custodial staff take pride in what we do. They keep things going every single day. But the truth of the matter is, our school is old. It's outdated. It has so many issues that we deal with each day. In many areas of the building, these are the exact same desks that I sat in, and what many of you guys were saying and were saying, it's the exact same layout that was from 20+ years ago. I work in special education, and one of the questions that we ask in our assessment phase is how does the situation repeat as students learning? That's the main question. And I think in this reference for facilities, here's your answer. We have 350 kids in our schools and they're sitting in 90-degree weather in the fall and in the spring. We're having to open the doors even though we've been told to not to on many occasions because of safety. So we're opening up that door constantly because the kids cannot stand to be in the heat. Come the summer, come the winter time, we're having to use portable heaters that a lot of times we're purchasing ourselves so we can just make it through the next day. We have kids that are wearing warm clothes to kind of mitigate all of these colder areas in the building. Our students are constantly smelling septic issues in the building, and most of the time, our staff goes for the debate, not, okay, what are we smelling? Is that a dead mouse? Is that the septic, or is this the gas? So what is that? Those are the things that we're dealing with and the need that we have for the school for our middle school. 30 seconds. We also have, once it rains, we have water pockets that show up in all of our ceilings. I got the opportunity to have one of those water pockets right on my desk. We also talk about the time that in this hallway's classroom, one lost a student. Those are the types of situations that we're dealing with. We do not have an outdoor learning space and we need one. I'm on duty every single day. Our basketball courts look like prison facility. A lot of times we can't use them because the kids are falling on them, there's just gravel. My fear is that a kid can pick up asphalt and throw it at another student when I'm on duty and the kids get hurt. Those are the types of situations that we're dealing with on the day-to-day. I know that we're also saying that we're not being considered when I was coaches in middle school. We have a majority of our students as charter school students as well too. And we welcome them and we want them with us so they use their facilities as well too. And they become a larger part of our community when they get to the high school. As public schools, we welcome everybody, no matter where a child comes from, how much their family will contribute, or what kinds of support they need, and where their academic needs are. We open the doors to them, and this is something that we're proud of. And our buildings have lived their life, and they serve their purposes. And it's time that our schools and our facilities get more updated.
Mr. Mayor, we're going to pass it to that.
I'll be in the update.
Thank you for your comments. Michael Musolowski. I don't know if you asked me for the call, but it's no problem. Anyway, things like Musolowski, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday, this one's going to be this line issue, I think, 38% of charter school students. Again, I just have multiple schools here in the house. I see those students. I hear their stories themselves. I fear that this bond issue goes through way down, that the next generation is just going to be left out. There's no mention for us educators about a professional development session, which the business bureau was talking to a bunch of teachers to explain how schools should be run on businesses. And he said, you know, I run blueberry pies. And we make the very best blueberry pies in town. We realize the best. And one of the guys was a teacher who raised her hand and said, excuse me, sir, what happens when the delivery of the blueberries is not, you know, as good as you wanted it to be to make very fantastic blueberry pies? And the man said, well, it's good to eat blueberries, except for that. And the woman said, that's the difference between running a business and running a school. We take all the blueberries. All the blueberries. I was really thrilled to see on the TNS website, there's an African proverb that says that if you want to go far, go to camp. What I fear is that the way the bond is written right now, is that he defines the word and so all together, for me, go together. I want to remind everyone in the public, this is something that a lot of the public doesn't understand, is that our schools are free schools. My opinion is that this policy she has written is no fair. And I want to be really clear, I'm not opposed to funding both schools. Y'all need funding, the woman just explained the condition buildings is, you know, we've all got stories like that. And so what I'm opposed to is funding TNS schools to be excluded of all the other schools. And I understand there are some folks here in the room that have to do some mathematics. And these members that were most recently available, I believe it's 2023 for that business charges within 38% of the school shop. Thank you. On the science, 38% is not eligible. So I respectfully ask them to really consider rewriting the bond, doing whatever you have to do. It's no fair, no bond. Start over. My kid is like your kid. It's our kids. All the kids. Thank you for listening. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this. Jill Klein.
Thank you, Superintendent, and members of the school board, and members of the community. Fancy me showing up for this school board topic about its year ones. I speak to my name is Jill Klein, speak to you as a member of the community, a taxpayer. Back in 2008, I was a member of the GeoBond committee at the time, and I have been president of one of the charter schools in town for several years. Right now, I'm Jill as a member of the community. The first thing that I want to say is I'm on the New Mexico Legislative, the NMLegislative.gov website, and it says access to capital outlay. Access to certain funds differs for state charter schools versus locally chartered schools. Charter schools do not have the ability to impose local taxes and are unable to issue GO bonds or education technology notes with school districts do. State charter schools may be considered by school districts when GO bonds are issued. Locally chartered schools are included in the respective school districts, I guess, and local facility master plan. So I would like to also know why we seem to be told that our charter schools, regional schools, whether they are district charter schools or state charter schools, are somehow excluded by the guidance of the attorney or the group that's making the presentation. All the statistics have already been said. 38% of the kids, my kids went to both public school and charter school across the years. They have all graduated. We're all taxpaying members of the community now. Pay for education, public education. We did it together.
I want to hit just on the emotion right now. I spent my weekend at a vigil at the bridge for Rose Rails concept. We've got to be taking care of our kids. I'm scared to death what's going on in our community and how our kids need help. We've got to be in this together. All of the schools together, we all know this. We all know this. And back in 2007, 8, 9, when we passed the $40 million GO bonds, some of you may remember, I was in the process of being sued by a city school board member because I spoke up. The one thing he and I shook hands on at the end of this term on school board was we did good work together, and it was on the bonds. It was all the schools. We have got to put kids first. We have enough to disagree on, and this it cannot be over our children and their education. Thank you.
Thank you for your primary comments. Mrs. Maloney Martinez.
Good evening, everyone, Dr. Kate and members of the board, President Flores, members of the community, employees of the districts. My name is Young Martin Sander. I am here as an employee of the district, as a parent of school-age children, as a community member, as everything under the sun for our house. I want to speak from the heart of the diary for updates for our facilities at Tuscaloosa School District. When we talk about going out for a this is not excluding any children in our community. It's about taking care of all of them. To me, it feels a bit like with divorce. When parents separate, sometimes one has more resources and the kids find that there have more opportunities. But that doesn't mean that other kids are loved any less. It means that we need to work harder to make sure every child has what they deserve. That's what the line is about, rebuilding, modeling, and improving our schools that were built back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. These buildings have served generations of students, and now it's our turn to serve them back. Our charter schools also benefit, our charter school students also benefit from our district facilities. They use our gyms, our fields, and our spaces. We don't close the doors to them. As a community school coordinator, I served right here for food today, and that wasn't just to Tuscaloosa School District students. Those were a few charter kids that were in there and a few homeschooled as well. So I didn't leave any of our children out into the community. And it's not fair to feel that you're that simply asking for these resources to care for our schools. At the high school, we have a space that would be amazing to utilize in our CTE program, but unfortunately, it's not being utilized because it is not maintained the way it should have been. Over the years, time it just wears out. It just wears out, you know. And I want to ensure that every child that walks through our doors has a safe, inspiring, and well-maintained place for them to learn. But what isn't just about community, it's about our community's future, our children and our education, and the right we all share here in Tufts. Thank you so much for letting me know, woman.
Thank you for your comment. Mrs. Maloney, you will.
Good evening, Chair Flores, members of the board, superintendent and community members. My name is Nancy Behe. I am the administrative director of Tufts International School. Listen to the title, International School. So, we are the only IB school, International Baccalaureate School in Tufts, and full language. Because those people in Lona is we for the students. Our students need to learn our language that we have here in our community. I went to school in Tufts High School, graduated from there. I put my own daughters to the high school, here graduated from there. I retired from Tufts Municipal Schools. I worked for 5 years, we talked to these schools and retired. Then I go to charter and we put out a charter to give our students in the community another choice. School choice is what it's called in the state charter language, it's school choice. And we don't get students that were mentioned previously that we choose our students, they choose us and they come to us. And we have all different zones at our school. I have students from Mexico that go to our school because they know that I'm bilingual and that I can speak a language and we teach the dual language. So I ask of you to please be fair to other students. Our parents are being felt like they are punished because they have chosen a charter school that fits for their student. Some students do not fit well in the school here in us. It fits in other charter schools. And keep in mind, we are charter public schools. We are public schools also. But parents are looking for a school that fits their child. They're going to be happy and they're going to feel safe. And in smaller groups, yes. Yes. I think we go to charter schools, my enrollment is the lowest. But it's okay. We're making it happen. Our kids feel safe and happy at our school. All students matter. All students matter in this house. 30 seconds. It's not just the charter schools, it's not just the public schools. I went to schools in the public schools, graduated from them, and look what I've become. Please, I beg you, I am the president of the South Municipal School District Board of Education, include South International School, and an addendum to be added to the whole one on an equal membership allocation. See the credit. That is what we are doing. De todos los niños aquí tenemos un despido. Que miren las estos niños son de todos nosotros. They all belong to our community. Despido. Que sí se puede. Que les enseñen a los niños de nosotros aquí. Que sí, they matter. They matter. Our parents matter. They feel again that they're being punished because they have chosen this art school. Please, what message do we give out to those parents and our students? We are all from here. We all belong in this community, especially those that have been here forever. I am forever. I didn't come from outside the town, from outside of the city, from outside of the country. I have been here forever. And my job is to prepare my students. Thank you.
Francis on.
Good evening, members of the board, and good morning. My comments are really for the audience. If your parents are tired, you don't throw water on your shoes. If your arm is broken, you don't put a splint on your shin. Right now, this district has a broken arm. Its hair is on fire. And that broken arm is House Middle School. I was a student at House Middle School from 1990 to 1993. And I carved my initials into one of the desks. I still find those initials every time I attend a professional development fair. A lot of people here tonight have talked about how certain schools are not being treated fairly. In my estimation, it is Towson Middle School that has not been treated fairly for the last 20 years. It is in desperate need far more than any other building in this district. Charter or tradition. So I think that what I'm trying to say to you all is, put aside the feelings of unfairness and the dark accusations of fraud and mismanagement, and think about the kids at House Notes, whose facility has not been upgraded, really since I was a student there. I get calls as a union rep from the teachers at House Notes School weekly. People who have chronic health conditions because of mold in their rooms. People who have ceiling panels that are collapsing on them. It is an absolute disaster. If we really care,
30 seconds.
if we really care about all of our students, then we need to prioritize the ones that are in the most dire circumstances. Y'all are okay. You can make it 2 years. That's how schools we can.
What do you use for your phones? Is it Angela or Angie from everyone? Yes, we love that.
My name is Juliana Patson. I'm speaking both as a charter parent, as a school employee and as a member of this community. Both my sons went to House Charter, and I would be a huge supporter of the charters. But I'm here to plead for Taos Middle School and Taos School, because I believe this charter buildings, especially at the middle school and the high school, that I'm asking this community to work upon. I have had the pleasure of teaching abroad in Europe. I've been in many schools in their school systems. And I've seen how education is supported worldwide and is valued. I've traveled to other schools as well, and besides House schools, and seen the 90-day differences in our facilities to others. The money for the bond needs to be put to House Middle School. I have seen work done in the high school and in elementary schools. Have had construction done by only 26 years at Taos schools. I don't know what has been done at Taos Middle School. I don't work in the middle school, so I don't know what their exact needs are, but I do want to take this time to call out the amazing custodial staff and the maintenance staff that they have that have kept that building up and running for decades. I can highlight our major needs. I can only highlight our major needs in the high school, we focus on that vocational building. I know that we need it in terms of the reins, the vocational building floods. We are now hearing of how vital our vocational programs are for our future as a community, plumbing, electrical, whatever it is. The shops need major upgrades. So our students are prepared for the 21st century technology that is coming. Christine Garcia, I would like to give a shout out to, has been in the high school now for only a few years and has designed an amazing SPA program. And for her to have state-of-the-art facility for her students to learn the necessary skills would be crucial, and our community will need the students in the future knowing their nursing skills. I also want to point out that Taos High School is also a major hub for almost everything in our community. That building is almost never not used, even on the weekends. I've had mates go, but there's students here. It is accessed almost every day, and you can, every year, at least the money for the wear and tear that is put in our building. The middle school is the same. Thank you.
those are all the individuals that signed up for public comment. Is there any other individual that wishes to speak in public comment about? I do apologize for this. It's the whole. Please step up. And again, I know that we don't want to be here too late. We got some core business to discuss regular business. But you are correct. Already other individuals that have decided that they wanted to speak at this opportunity for you to speak. I need you to sign up on the sheet prior to speaking. This is yours.
My name is Tracy Phillips, Dr. Tracy Phillips. And I am the superintendent for Taos Academy Charter School. I have been the head administrator and opened Taos Academy Charter School 18 years ago. Taos Academy has been part of the continued bond issues for those entire 18 years. And we have a new campus that now is for students to be able to enjoy. All students in Taos enjoy Taos Academy's buildings. Just like was said, Taos Academy also has Taos Municipal School students use our facilities, weekends, holidays, and the summer. I am requesting the Taos Municipal School Board of Education include Taos Academy, as well as all other Taos charters and their students, their families, in an addendum to be added to the vote on an equal membership allocation. To be specific, what I am asking is only to be included in the part of the GOBRM that the taxes are collected by Taos taxpayers. All of our parents, all of your parents. We are not asking to be a part of the state match. That is to make sure that your schools, specifically the middle school, which really needs some attention, that should have gotten attention long ago. That money certainly needs to go directly to Taos Middle School to build a new school. I would absolutely agree. A couple of things to clarify. 30 seconds. You? Taos charter schools receive the same SCG funding without the ability to bond. We get the same amount per student head, and it does not cover, as you know, the operations of our schools, as was mentioned before. Lease assistance, by the way, which charters you get to help, doesn't even come close. Okay, just clarifying that, President. By the way, it's interesting to me that New Mexico districts across the state have added their state charter schools to their bonds, including Albuquerque schools just recently. So I find it very interesting, your comments about state charter schools can't be. They absolutely can be, and there is precedent behind that. Again, thank you very much for listening to us. I appreciate the time, for sure. I do want to say one thing. This was unprofessional.
And I did send all of you my account to the missed meeting, things in the paper. I hope you take this seriously, or I certainly did.
Thank you, Ms. Booth.
Thank you.
If you add two more to the list, this will be the final call. We've got our honorable representative in the audience. This is Christina Cortez. For joining us. You're up.
I hope you can see me over. My name is Christina Ortiz, State Representative, and thank you so much as you put us members of the school board. Certainly, and I think this is a really important thing that you're doing right now, hearing the voices of parents, grandparents, taxpayers, property owners, as we consider this really important, very expensive bond in front of us. I am the mother of two children who have been through charter schools. One is now in a charter school in Santa Fe, and their daughter goes to Muncie. I feel like it is incumbent upon me as an elected representative to speak to fairness and equity. At the same time, I don't think anyone in this room disputes the need for funding majority, both of this funding from this bond and any state match should likely go to the middle school. I don't think anyone is disputing that. But as we think about the remainder of the proceeds, we need to think about all the schools and all the students that are within the district boundaries. And that is why I'm imploring you to consider, please consider the charter schools in this bond be fair and equitable as we deal with the very, very major issues at the middle school, which again, no one is disputing. And I want to again thank Dr. Phyllis for talking about the state charter schools and how they can access that money. There is precedent. There is no reason why they could not get funding proceeds from this. And if there is, that's something that I will visit the state legislature. So please let me know. I'm right here for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Cortez. Mr. Stevens.
Buenos dias. I support bond propositions written, motivated by school results presented in the Mexico District Report, including the insert endorsements. Several years ago, I began attending school board meetings a little more than 3 years ago. And all that time, I've never seen this many adults at any regular school board meeting. If you're concerned about financial fraud, about equitable fund facility, about how funding decisions are made and our answers to your concerns and questions, attend regular board meetings on a regular basis and present concerns and questions. Again and again if necessary. I'm concerned about our educational system writ large, about shared education, about shared curriculum and pedagogy, shared and particularly history, given the present attempt to rewrite history by the Republican Party writ large. In 1948, while still a student at Morehouse College, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King wrote the following for education. I'm quoting one. As I engage the so-called discussions around and about school, I do often find that most college men have a misconception of the purpose of education. Most of the brethren think that education should equip them with proper instruments of exploitation, so that they can forever trample the masses. Still others think that education should furnish them no means rather than means to an end. Seems to me that education has a twofold function: for in the life of man and in society. The one is utility, and the other is culture. Education must enable him to become more efficient, to achieve with increasing facility, to achieve the legitimate goals of his life. Education must also train one to quick, resolute, thinking, to think incisively, to think for oneself very difficult. We are both that our mental life will come by legions of half truths, prejudices, and propaganda. At this point, I often wonder whether or not education is fulfilling its purpose. The great majority of the so-called educated people think logically and scientifically. Even the press, the classroom, the platform, and the pulpit, many instances do not give us objective and unbiased truths. To save man from the morass of propaganda, in my opinion, is one of the chief aims of education. Education must enable one to sit and weigh evidence, to discern the truth from the false, the real from the unreal, and the facts from the fiction. The function of education, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But education which stops efficiency may prove the greatest menace to society, the most dangerous criminal, may be the man gifted with reason or morals. The late Eugene Talmadge, remember this 1948 Senator Talmadge. The late Eugene Talmadge, in my opinion, has one of the better minds of Georgia or America. Moreover, he wore the Phi Beta Kappa team, by all measuring rods, Mr. Talmadge would think critically and intensively, yet he contend that I am the inferior being of those types of men who call educated. We must remember that intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of education. A complete education gives one not only power of concentration, but three objectives on which to concentrate. The broad education will therefore transmit not only the accumulated knowledge of the race, but also the accumulated experience of social living. If we are not careful, our colleges will suppose finding unscientific, illogical propagandist consuming moral acts. Be careful. Be careful. The book said that education was the most false of war. Awesome. Thank you, Mr. King, all the comments. Well, at this time, our public comment period has concluded. We will proceed with the agenda as presented. Right, one question that I'd like to speak to you with in the vision, and it is the but we have precedents for the schools issued on the main the state part that I have to read that. We also heard that we are not allowed to, or by statute, food state part of the body.
Yes, I'll do my best, and then we also have the district law council can agree with them. So you can help fill in some gaps. I am a free time on the public schools education application, planning their project of that school to have tried to accomplish. I think there is maybe misunderstanding right now. Everybody in budget or mostly the process for actually selling the fund. The school board approved the action by simply putting question marks. You can read it for the audience, you guys will find what it is meant. Just talk about school associations to the ground. Yeah, so this is the exact question I think you all will see on November for the election, submitted it to the county clerk, but it reads, without reported education in the past from school district number 1, authorized to issue general obligation bonds of the district in one or more series, and the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $50 million for the purpose of 1, erecting, remodeling, and making additions to and furnishing school buildings, including teacher housing. Number 2, purchasing or improving school grounds. Number 3 is purchasing computer software and hardware for students used in public schools. Number 4 is to provide matching funds for capital outlay projects funded pursuant to the Public Schools Capital Outlay Act. And number 5 says any combination of these purposes, said bonds to be payable from general ad valorem taxes and to be issued and sold at such times upon the terms and conditions at the board rate as the board rate. But what that is simply trying to state is that you all are putting this question on ballot for residents to approve. You have not decided on any projects. Here at the bottom, maybe I'm going to backfire on this a little bit. I would suggest for me, you all It is a way to engage the public and discuss these projects without any big election successful. Or even probably not twenty people that are there and be voting on, so you know, you got that check for $50 million. It was meant to communicate that those schools product as a priority project. But from there, dollar amounts on projects have not been determined. Specific schools have not been paid for the city sector. And you have in front of you, and I believe is still a draft. But it is simply trying to outline all of those priorities that if the middle school did forward as a priority project, we're able to unlock some of that state money. It should be at least $90 million, depending on what that kind of cost is. That could be used to fund various projects. That's when you do have the ability to release some state charter self funds issues, so there's a statement that will list out projects. There will also be some restrictions on what charges will include back to the relationship with the district, what was facility from there is still the ability to include charter schools having in paid and projects are decided. I think the language around advising resolution is it's there in my opinion, fairly broad. All of the pictures.
So that language that English read was specifically meant to be very broad. So we have the ability to obviously prioritize the money that taxpayers will be approving and serving, but it does not specifically exclude any school district or identify any specific school in the district.
That is correct. And many of the school districts use similar language to but one of yours if we list the middle school at $40 million a month application state after the being whether construction moving forward. You now pull almost everything $40 million school. If the project needed $35 million, and send that $5 million per school has school rate. You would then have to go back to the voters again. Issue on that. So having it this way and keep it broad so that dollar amounts projects keeps change, then in the discussion. The state rankings do update every year, you publish a draft of April and the final message in June every year. That's what ranks all of the different school districts I've shown for sure. It shows how the middle school is ranked. And we're one in the school that's going to be prepared for 400 and some days, the one that's supposed to be better. The fact that the middle school is number one in the show.
This is one of the questions, comments, Mr. Kingsman, Mr. Nix, if they've got in fact. One thing that I want to say is that if the bond passes, the school board has the ability to allocate money to specific needs that have been identified, needs that are prioritized. But if the bond does not pass, then we do not have that ability. It was never the intention of the school board to exclude or to specifically identify these for those taxpayer funds. All we have asked for is the support of the community, pass this bond so that we can renovate, we conclude and construct facilities. Specifically the middle school can identify with under the ranking in the state, where one ranking may be in the top and the worst school facilities in the state of New Mexico. That project alone is going to encompass utilize a large amount of these funds. But if the bond can pass over these,
comment well on the multiple project. I mean, we proud of that if they have the ability to on all the past society on the top down. You're not going to be paid with the parent with school project paying out. And so I mentioned the costing $4 million. It is good support all the projects started with public schools. We could potentially release that funding for school because you know Russian. These feel pretty good about that. That does line up with the obligation by 2007. Reallocate your funding potentially alleviates the successful. But even if it all. There is
Commissioner, you mentioned that we do have a pond council who needs to be attorney for pond with the pond Zoom. Is this Mr.
correct, yes.
Ian, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can. Are you able to hear me?
Ian, just wanted to ask you, getting quite a bit of concern with the language that is being presented to the voters. And one of those concerns that the district does not have the ability to fund state charter. Can you speak to that as to how the district will be able to and what maybe some of the restrictions?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing, but I think I understood the question to be whether the district can include state charters as recipients of GO bond funds. And based on a careful reading of the public school code as well as the anti-donation clause of the New Mexico Constitution, as Nick referenced earlier, we don't believe that state charter schools are eligible recipients of district GO bond funds for capital projects because the definitions under the school code limit expenditures for capital projects to, among other things, school buildings. And school buildings are limited to capital projects that are acquired, constructed, or there's one other word that's escaping me, by the school district to accomplish school district purposes. And state chartered schools are not part of the school district. Their property is held in a different status that would be revertible to the state rather than to the local school district, in this case, Taos. So we do not believe that the statute or the New Mexico Constitution would allow capital financing for state chartered schools. The district chartered schools could be included in the financing and I may have heard Nick say this already, but I was really having a hard time hearing. The bond question, it was broadly enough worded that that is still a possibility for inclusion. It's not, it's up to the district board as well as I forgot what the term is, but the committee that was set up to determine what projects to pursue. Does that answer the question?
What I understand is if the bond is supported by the community, this report has the ability to allocate funding to all schools within our community. It does not explicitly state that one school is excluded or one school is priority. It is a district-wide, community-wide bond that is going out to the voters that we hope that they will approve. This board is made up from very passionate individuals. I myself was raised that if I have food on my table, everyone eats. So with that being said, there is no reason why anybody should believe that those will not get effective funding. And in order to be able to allocate funding to any school, you need to have that number. The middle school has been identified as a priority, as a number 11 grades building in the state, first building. It is the district's priority to construct a new middle school. I believe that I am on one board member here, but at point in time when that building is constructed, and it was going to be extended, the district voice of the community, the school board will more than happily allocate funding, obviously doable, at that point in time, by resolution, that question. So I'm not going to go in, no, I put my mouth at this point in time. Thank you Dick, for speaking on that. I just wanted to make it clear that we're, do that in which no school is excluded, and no school is specifically included.
And when I may add one thing on the middle school project, just given at some point, some of these decisions are going to be out of district hands when it comes to area placements of school structures because of the ranking and the facility and repair costs on close to 50% of the cost of building a school. Saves on you guys that always say are pay that. And I just wanted to mention that's part of why we're talking about a new school that's so important because I don't believe a repair will.
State costs force us to close the use.
Yes, and you pay, let's say, David.
What else to do the role?
Yes, it was not safe for the probably something. Really, in that your education that you have in the seats.
Only question would be where those students.
Thank you, President. Actually, questions I wrote like when it's school at the moment. That's a real alarm to hear that. I just have one question for you, Nick, because I'm confused. You're saying that we can't use any of this money to, the state charters? And I'm then wondering, I also thought I've heard people say that other state charters were funded by different places. I'm confused.
This is based on guidance we received from the model that state charters and be specific language based on their use of what a facility is. Some of those state charters have been could end up being housing of students in a facility that is by the school example. And that is since the district would be able to give money or invest in facilities because of the district facility state charters will be state. There are some other avenues for those funding, the state charters supposed to make what project education materials kind of all has been so it's not a hard goal, but I think we going where this information loss has to do with the resolution put on that ballot and what projects to be approved for. You cannot specifically without the state charters because they are not in the district. Service. But because projects and what facilities are being approved, many facilities to be also great.
Okay, thank you. That's thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
And thank you for your also for item 7.2 is the bond advisory committee for identifying priorities. Superintendent.
President Flores, Vice President Frank, members of the board. Some presentations. I couldn't do so from the work. But trying to run over the priorities that were outlined by bond advisory committee. First, I just want to give a brief timeline. So if we look at the presentation, it's just a quick little timeline on some of the communications, and so we'll start with March 8th in particular, that the single bond measure, no bond presentation was presented at the finance committee. And that was the first indications that we were going to be considered on, again, it was at the board meeting on March 8, 2025, followed by an update to the April 16 prolonged timeline. And so that one in particular just listed out what the next steps would be, what the duration of the time frame, and what we could expect if the board so chooses to go ahead and submit for a resolution. On the 18th, the board did discuss the bond advisory committee, and at that time, the board member needed to go ahead and send a community outreach to make sure that we ask for community input into what would be for bonds specifically to look at the facilities needs, set up advisory together, and time to have as much as possible. So on June 4th at 20 of this year, we sent a join us voice of the table message, sent to various avenues, including social media, website, messenger, email, text, and newspaper. And so this. So one of the pictures you're gonna see here is specific to the news article that talked about how schools can be put on 50-minute bond measure. Followed by the actual messenger output. Send out the message that we will be providing information to the project meeting. The next one is Cosmos for Schools, which is performing on the meeting. This will be through the messaging app itself, and this was into all the closer in the GP. This is like the social media. So this is to the ones that are listed on the. So and for that particular one, we're going to go ahead and talk about social media. This is where we speak out the message out to the entire community as well. The QR code that said here join our particular body project thing. And for there, we stick to have in we send it out through our website as well. This particular one is used. We also send it out for the web banner, so if everybody did click on our website, they will automatically go into join our advisory board. For there, we also send out information through live feed, which also have the QR code, and allow anyone from the community, the entire community itself, go ahead and join our online. And so from this, we come now to this approved message. Now, I don't know, holding on the budget committee, the email stuff, around 2,150 messages. So those are the different forms of messaging that we send out to the community that we see if we join our budget. The team is outlined for the team with the renewal application, which for 20 community members later this week. On the 23rd, authorizing the distribution for representative as a totality of living Brooklyn. And in that particular meeting, we discussed that there were 30 total, including district and head staff. On 29th, in particular, that's what the issue was brought to the board for discussion. I believe Steve Ron and advisors, the council were there to answer the questions. In fact, I believe one of the questions by the board at the time was when would be submitted, and the time was August 26th. But of course, this was questions specifically from the board in that board itself. On the 29th, our president, our closest, and then continued did first leverage to raise the board. And on August the 9th, the first notice for the committee on information went out. And so as you can see on this on your website, you'll see the committee meetings that was conducted over the course of the next 3 months, or 2.5 months if you want to go specific. There was the first one in the park room, the rest of the site visits at the high school, auditoriums, branches, EOS, And in front of the school where at that particular time, the raise was. And so here is some pictures with regards to, the school sites, that the bond and committee did visit. So where's the, further, the high school, as well as the middle school, and, going back to some of the comments earlier, the school, that is one of the special programs areas that, has the particulars now, from the statement, as well as the middle school playground area and basketball court, which you can see is pretty much just open dirt and foundation. The high school, in particular, is the CTU building. This group is non-functional, and so our students are not able to continue this particular CTU. So at this time, I also want to talk about Blue River Crystal School. I heard mine, Blue River Crystal person, we talk about different communities. When you look at Albuquerque, Farmington, Smith, House, Adults, and Madison, you look at residential, plus an operational and HVAC as the other groups. And this was a big earlier before that, House in particular has one of the most combined no rates across the different municipalities and school districts. When you talk about the COC ranking in particular, if you look at it, and this of course, the ages can vary from the day it was granted to the day that it was, I believe it was 40 now. So if you look at the ranking specifically, Taos Middle School, which is 47 years old, is at the highest rank as far as the PSC. Now, what that means the PSC means that it is the highest and critical need Taos High School, 60 years old, is listed as 110, monarchy. Christians, which is the current and health institute, is listed as monarchy. Now, going back to some of the things that you told for the different areas, Houston Private is actually listed as the only state charter public school. The of the Taos Municipal Schools on which is one area which may relate to some of the other potentialists. Taos Municipal Schools owns the facility at Eastern Island. So if the community were to, because we own the facility and by definition of statute, we would be allowed to provide monetary for the bond to a facility that the district itself owns, even though the state charter Eastern Island does operate the facility. And so you have this other campuses, Angeles, which is about 61 years old, Enos Garcia, 87, Rose Colombian, Nancy, Charles Charles Integrated, as well as the Academy and Charles International. So again, those are just either needs as far as based on needs. You'll see with Taos Middle School, listed as the highest ranking for 13 in Taos Middle Schools, which in this particular list, the highest rank that you are means that the most needy facility is the river. And so all of this information was for the school site visits to yes, some rankings, to all of the information that was discussed finalized on the October 1st on the committee of Southern Municipal. We do the same as well. And from the facilities and from the brochures that you do see, what Elizabeth argues for the committees, Taos Middle School will be listed again, but the high school is as vocational and CTE facilities. Others that are listed there based on the feedback site visits. Those particular stucco, custom furniture, reasonable treatment, many windows, Enos Garcia, roofing, replacement flooring, failures, is the pool tower, which I think someone alluded to earlier, as far as air conditioning, security doors that need absolutely fixing. For lounges, in particular, cafeteria renovations, repair outdoor spaces, and student play spaces. The softball and baseball fields in particular, the ed rate is not there. And I say that because we have one field that has turf, and the other field that has grass. We have one side of the field that has a particular concession stand on the other side of us. We have seating that's inequitable on both sides. We have one that does and one that doesn't. Restroom facilities, there are no facilities. So, what the Salvador Regional Affairs were listed as one of the identified priorities, specifically to address equity between two different student groups that do play on these fields. And for all the two house school sites, we're talking about updating EPA compliance. Since these facilities are of age, they're needing an update to the current EPA standards. We're talking about energy efficient lighting. That was one of the priorities listed by the bond committee because of the fact that if we don't have energy efficient lighting, that means we're also looking more for electricity. Also talk about visitor condition safety, fire panels, and intercom systems. Alberta's particular, their intercom system is the same as the school begins. And ultimately, different particular funding sources that may clean up teacher housing. And so, kind of back to one of the questions that was there, the geological potential educational income. Was one of the spirit of the main points, which could increase vocational CT pathways, beginning with the middle school through Charles High School. It will allow for increased focus on academia and an increased attention to special programs that bond we have as an educational plan. And so we do have a website and a link, so we have a QR code that any community or outside the community can apply from all these are listed in the. And that concludes my presentation. Voice.
Thank you for the meetings. Do any members of the board have any questions or comments for Superintendent in relation to the presentation provided?
Thank you. It looks to me like you guys did not have any advisory sections that I didn't, which was hard, is that correct? Why is that?
I think go back to the institution, at the university site meeting in August, it was schedule the site visit to, to announce. The comment that, Director Hunt was accurate in that we didn't want state and public charter designation, so the state, public charter and district public charter designation because of the, going back to the allocation of funds for.
But it's still a district charter right now.
It's still very.
And it's going to be at the election.
I would assume so.
Right. My next question is, I don't need identified priorities either of those two district charters listed. Why is that?
So the first thing that we have, we all measure three together, and Director Hunt and Director Jones. They did some of the meeting, Director Jones did this is each part, which is the the roofs and the stucco grid. We want to make sure, and so that was the only attendance that we had been to list out the these. The next attendance was at Rose with Nazi attending, but not just attending the corporate meetings at that time. Director Hunt did send an email on the first of October, running meeting. She did provide the listing of at that time, but those were the only indications that we had. So for every meeting or more, we do not have any particular info other than that first one and the email that Director Hunt did send out on October 1st.
Okay, well, today's extra percent, they're not on the agreements. I still don't understand. Maybe it's needed.
It's the investor is basically going to around that is still in draft form, has not been given nights a week, disseminated to the public. I wondered whether we do this because we I would also ask and urge our state partners to identify their facilities, correspondence, present that to the district.
So to turn that first of all, so this was not announced to the committee, and so it wasn't an individual decision. So the committee, what you see here, was finalized by the committee on October the 1st at Taos Middle School. This has been based on one, the advisory committee at the very next hospital school, where the whole committee decided what the department would be, listed on here. Once we brought it in the entire committee, we submitted that to bond council to make sure we are following all statute regulations as far as what we can and cannot work, making sure that if it does open up, which it has, that we are following the regulations of the statute with the question of law. So to answer your question, Mr. Chair, this was not the individual selection. Also, the committee at October first meeting at Towson Middle School, this was the collective decision that the entire committee made based on the and
I understand. Did you understand what President Flores asked? That you include district charters and then you also reach out to the state charters and ask for this.
the question.
Yeah.
Yes. Superintendent, I asked that you would identify the needs of our district charters, on this, obviously. It has been stated and identified that we are prioritizing needs from middle school on down. If we would also include and identify the needs of the district charters at this time. And then if we would request from our state charters, then we do have facility needs. If we please pass it along to the district, we of course want us doing it this.
Thank you, Mr. Post. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
And the board members have comments or questions on this very important topic. Thank you. I do want to commend the thank those members of the bond advisory committee for giving up their time and volunteering those many hours that were put in place to visit the various school sites. Our community is in need of many improvements across the district and across the community. I, as a school board member, with each and every student, each and every family in our community, everybody who was here tonight was passionate about students, passionate about education, passionate about families, and I know that this board will strive to be inclusive of all families. We have prioritized the middle school as the number one priority for this bond. The district also has many needs of vocational field CTE program at the high school is critical in educating our students for the future. We do not intentionally, and even though it is been assumed or found, and we apologize on behalf of the school district if there was the feeling of exclusion that was never intended. We meet regularly, we have public meetings, even the trickle of people that led tonight is more people than I've ever seen in our school board meetings. So I would encourage you all to view our board meetings virtually, follow our website, stay abreast of what's going on, attend our school board meetings, and those wait for these important critical needs. You know, I played sports in high school, and you practice with nobody's to watch them and to prepare for game day. In today's game day, everybody showed up, but nobody's been practicing. So, please attend the school board meetings, stay abreast, stay in communication with the district, and we get this both sides of the aisle. In regards to communication, I don't think anybody should follow on their sides and what they communicate to me, or where is the communication from the other side. So I think we are all equally responsible. With that said, thank you for your presentation. Item 8.
In 18 years, every single superintendent has reached out to state charter schools and district charter schools to say, hey, we're going into a bond session, would you come with us and help? We make the flyers, But we put it out, in our. Every single bond, ever since 18 years that I've been in charter league. Every superintendent has done it, reached to us. We have our own boards. We have very busy jobs. They, to ask us to come to your board meetings was not precedent. This time, we were not asked to the table. Here.
Thank you, Mrs. Rose.
Mrs. Rose,
Order, it is the best practice not to engage, the audience.
Well, just the committee, on behalf of the superintendent. The superintendent, our community. We have, we're here. Twice a month. And this is a policy. Board. And. Commissioner Nate. This is really true. We're having this meeting today. Is showing our transparency. President Clark. Make special meetings for the make comments, so let's see how we go. Social media. Social media is great, but this is a small town. You know each other. I know you, I know President Mark's parents. We're all connected. And we have this each other, and so let's just make sure it's time important. The future. This is the time that we can come together. That's how we vision. Move forward. It's interesting to see, there's dollars to be had, people's out. Well, so it's not to go around. Really, let's think about. Let's be better, not good. Right?
Thank you.
That means a lot. I really do appreciate that, and I did. Thank you.
I just want to echo what you will, when you hear this, we'll see each other, right? I don't have one anywhere. And I hope nobody else knows up. Number 8 is a board discussion relating to possible uses of upcoming school district general obligation bond policies and possible uses of any unencumbered general obligation bond policies. This is the matter for a board discussion as the president of this board attended the meeting discussion, and unfortunately the president can speak the most. And so I would like to encourage my fellow board members to engage in this discussion, to share their thoughts about possible uses of the upcoming school district general obligation bond proceeds and possible uses of any unencumbered general obligation bond proceeds. All of the garden, you have something about. There was a superintendent's office. I mean, we're here to be best. We're, and anything less. It's not. This is about the lease. And you did. You trust you guys, most of your parents have a neighbor. Our garden was in front. And
Mr. Jones, and I know each other, you must have. We all know each other, we all have roles. So let's look at it. Doesn't have action socks. Holes in his pants, not wash shoulders. Little girl whose hair is not washed. That's what you should be looking for. No, you don't live in equitable time. I'm telling you for generations. Let's be real about it. Really disappointing. It's enough to go around. Really is. Really, you look inside.
Thank you, Alderman McKee. There's more than enough money to go around. And I would encourage the community, and I would encourage everyone who values our youth within the community to support this bond. This board has not implied, stated, presented themselves, and I know it's been assumed and presumed and spoken about that we are purposely excluding because we do not specifically identify any specific school or any school specific notice going to be excluded. And to share something personally, I do meet your needs. To be quite honest with you, I am not hesitant to share anything that I have with anybody in the. And that's the approach I take to this board. And it's the approach I will take to this bond. I would encourage our state charters and our district charters to present their needs. And we have heard from our district charters their needs. Mr. Barrington did attend our first presentation. He specifically stated what were his priorities. And I would also venture to say that if and when this bond does pass, we clearly have identified the priorities. But there's going to be more than enough money to go around. And at that point in time, with the needs that have been identified by our state charters and the district charters, and various schools within the Taos Municipal School District, all those needs are going to be looked at. And nobody is going to be noticeable about. Right now, we don't have any funding. We don't. We can't speak of distributing any funding. We do not know the specific cost or the exact cost of the Taos Municipal School new construction. We all know with our current economy, the current political landscape, it things are day to day. And things to change, but I do know that I'm going to be on this board for the next 4 more years, so Vice President Gray, we've got board member June, board member Concha, and board member and Secretary Trujillo who are very passionate about students and education, and they will not allow anybody to go without. It's hard to speak about how much money you're going to pass out of your wallet if you don't have any money in your wallet. You know. So with that being said, I don't hear any. Forming the contract and then Secretary.
President, first, and thank you everyone to those that had. I just want to say, our facing, who also part of this was the use facility to my district. It's fair, everyone is aware of that, and we were pointed to talk about the need of repairs and upgrades that are needed. Our educators, our students, our communities are on the streets that are safe and modern. However, the bottom of the slides must be managed before considering the detailed plan to inclusive cost and the carry costs. The community lives a clear plan, includes communication with insurance that all students prepare their life are considered. And there are as the department thinking about focus or we have others about language as if whether it's within one or in what we can use. I think it says there's that there can be wrong, the public, we should be taught. What's right. You know, the class, we hear every student outside practice, all the businesses, out of the problems now, when they was working involved, we just have that public confidence and all of you. And to be all of the around you who have all class. And then to the board here, I want to thank all the board members and the photos and you know, just knowing that we have the community that we have had, people, we roast each other's head, we all thoughts of our lives, we again, and, we continue to have confidence in moving the board, we can, very happy to see.
Secretary Field.
Good evening, thank you so much for being. I can't, it's very hard for me to express how I feel about how important this one is to housing for school and for community for children. And you are here because you care enough to stand for what I can stress what it is that it's important to you. And I can say that this is one of the biggest challenges we are facing as husbands. It isn't easy when you come into a home like board member he said, to take on such a role. And it isn't just the word, but as a community, as you are a community. You have children, you have grandchildren already, probably you're ready for myself. I was raised in this community and I've heard enough to volunteer for my district. Wanted to offer to even run an election. And so to me, I take pride in what we have done for them. And thank you so much. And we will do our best to represent you, and again, this is public money, a public trust. And we assume huge responsibility to take that on for you.
Thank you, Secretary Field. Well, we are very lucky to have Secretary Field, of course, she is the former elected classroom treasurer, the former finance director. She was very experienced, knowledgeable in finance. It was a pleasure and honor to serve with her along my other fellow board members. We're very well informed, wise in many different facets. Well, one thing I do want to speak of is, Gordon McKee did mention how, Superintendent Lee is new to the community. I support Superintendent Lee, and then I do want to see him succeed and excel. There are some concerns that are voiced by the community, but there is a learning process that we all go through. Nobody's perfect. And there's an old saying that you don't throw the baby out with the water. So we need to also be mindful. Each and every one of us has a duty to ensure that our neighbors and our fellow professionals and those people who we encounter day to day as an unhoused individual, which is doing the need, that we work together to make our community better. There's always room for improvement. Success is rare, perfection is rare to ever achieve, and it's something that we always aspire to do. So we encourage and we will work on a relationship with our state and our district charters. There's always room for improvement. The district's been undergoing quite a bit lately. We went through an extensive superintendent search. Prior to that, we had some turnover in the superintendent's office. We've also recently spoken of the self-report and have been undergoing a forensic audit, which is going to be made as soon as it's completed. It's in its final stages. Just for the community to know, that was we self-reported. We didn't wait for somebody to identify a discrepancy. We didn't try to push it really well. We're very so with that being said, as Secretary Drew stated, And board member wants us to be encouraged to be transparent. And we're also, we are public trust, and we are going to work for the benefit of all. And we have no more discussions, we will, I urge our state charter to send the facilities to district. I will encourage from the bottom of my heart, everybody to support this bond. We are not false prophets or liars in this diocese, but we will do everything within our powers to ensure that everyone gets this one. We cannot forget this time as to obey each slice of week, have the middle school as our priority, and that's going to be a big chunk of funding. So we do urge your support with that. We do have a President of the school board meeting this coming Thursday, and we will continue to see how we, as a board, and assure the community that this fund will be equitably distributed. Obviously, based on the priority needs. And the conversation is not going to end tonight. So thank you all for attending. Thank you for supporting education. You've been so passionate. One thing our school board council, Mr. Gino Zamora, for driving all the way to Santa Fe to the evaluation before it stays in line. Done a good job. Thank you, Mr. Zamora. I want to thank our executive assistant, Amanda Gonzalez, for her time. I also want to acknowledge Council County Sheriff's Deputy and the County Council Police Department, our school security, for also being here to ensure that everybody is safe. And we have an election coming up, so get out and vote. And hopefully everybody votes yes, in support of the facility needs throughout our district. Other than that, item 9 is upcoming next school board meetings. Our next regular school board meeting is October 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. The school administration building. And I would like to proceed to make any motions to adjourn. Second, motion to keep. All in favor? Aye.